Getting into some of these playoff games, the Texans facing off against the Kansas City Chiefs. The spread in that game is actually 7.5 Kansas City. I know it's been moving from 7.5 to 8. The over-under is 41.5, so they're expecting a low-scoring game. So who do you got in this game?
Man, the Texans' defense is pretty cold.
Yeah.
Not going to lie, but the game's in Arrowhead, and everything runs through Arrowhead right now.
Yeah.
Brittany had her baby, so Mahomes got that out of the way. Yeah. So doesn't have to worry about his wife being pregnant anymore. Yeah. The baby's here. Like, now it's time. Now it's time to focus.
He's like, I'm focused, and I'm just trying to get rid of all y'all and take my new baby to Disney World.
Exactly. So of course I'm rolling with the Chiefs. The Chiefs is still the Chiefs. It's Pat McAfee likes to say.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's been a long time since I don't think I've ever bet against Patrick Mahomes. Even in college, I always bet the over. Get the touchdown.
Anytime Tech's involved, you got to take the over.
Yeah.
But give me the Chiefs in this one.
I don't necessarily believe in that with the McGuire days right now. I ain't taking the over, but I know what you mean.
Old school Kingsbury days.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
the Kingsbury connection.
But the Chiefs, man, they're clicking at the right time. Hollywood Brown right now opens things up for Xavier Worthy, who's really coming on late, kind of like Rashee Rice did last year in the playoffs. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think them having the week off is a big advantage, especially for their running game, because now you actually have two healthy running backs in Pachenko and Kareem Hunt picked up the slack whenever he was out. And for Mahomes to have any type of running game, it's just a plus as far as the play action goes. And with the speed of those two receivers you just mentioned, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, fastest man in the league, had to say it twice. That's a problem. And with the Texans, they're beat up as far as their receiving core goes. C.J. Stroud, for him to come out and for them to put a whooping on the Chargers like they did last week, I think was the way they did it. I think was a little bit of a surprise. Everybody thought that you'd see a lot more Bosa, but they just kind of got on him quick. But I think that it ends there. He's 2-0 in the wild card, but he's going to be 0-2 as far as that divisional round goes. And I'm going with Kansas City, and I think they'll cover.
How can we talk about the Chiefs and not even mention a Travis Kelce?
Is that what the people want?
Nah, I'm just saying, like, that's how loaded they are.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's just the understood thing is that you're going to try and take away Kelce and see what else, however else they can beat you. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and talk about this Washington game playing against the Lions at Detroit, 7:00 on Saturday. It's a Fox game, so that means we got to hear Tom Brady. But it's all good. It's all good. So Detroit's favored by 10 points. The over-under is 55.5. Who do you got in this game this weekend?
10 points in the playoffs.
10 points is a lot of points.
That's a lot of points in the playoffs. But I'm, don't know about betting right now. But anyway, I just know, man, that's a lot of points in the playoffs. But Washington and Dan Quinn and Kingsbury, I mean, the coaching staff has his team ready to play with a bunch of Cowboy rejects. I know that kills Cowboy fans.
And don't forget a TCU left tackle.
Yeah.
That we passed on.
So, I mean, they're playing good football, and it's all about playing good football at the right time. But I think this Lions team is just a juggernaut.
Yeah.
And so you're asking me who to pick. I'm picking the Lions. I'm picking Jared Goff, and I'm picking the home team. Now, do they cover?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
not willing to put money out there. I could see it. I could see them covering.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to put my money on it.
Yeah, I got Detroit winning, but no way they cover. I just think that there's some certain ways that Cliff Kingsbury will be able to expose the lack of the pass rush that they're missing with Aiden Hutchinson being out. Now, the back of that defense is great with those two safeties back there. They seem to pick off everything with Brian Branch and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the other kid's name right now. Kirby Joseph, I'm sorry. But, yeah, those guys are amazing back there. But I just think that Jaden Daniels, he can kind of – if he's playing his game, he can kind of do whatever he wants. It's a very scary thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it for sure, to see what they're going to do. I just, at the end of the day, I think this Lions offense is just too much.
Right. Yeah, I would. Man, I'll probably, if I had to bet, I'd bet on Washington to cover, but. I can't think they're going to pull this off. And if they do, then we'll be talking about how great Jaden Daniels is next week, and maybe we'll put him over Goff then. Let's talk about that Eagles game. Let's talk about the Rams, Eagles, NFC, Matt Stafford, Highland Park representing versus Jalen Hurts, Texas boy. It's a 6-point spread. We're talking about the Eagles being favored by 6. 43.5 is the over-under. 2:00 Sunday. Who you got?
Man, after watching the game the other night, man, Matthew Stafford comes to play.
Yeah.
And he's got Puka Nacua. He's got Cooper Kupp.
Hey, Kyron Williams, the most underrated.
Kyron Williams running the ball really well. The defense pretty much
Jared Verse, man, looking like defensive rookie of the year.
They played really well the other night, but I'm going with the home team, man. Got to go with the Eagles here. Now, as a Cowboy fan, my entire life can't stand the Eagles. I'm rooting for that upset. Let me get some Matthew Stafford in there, but I'm gonna take the Eagles in this one. Saquon, just a beast, and then how about AJ Brown with the book on the sideline?
Hey man, he says, "Hey, that book looks worn out." So I kind of believe him if he says he reads it every week. He always got it out there.
That book. Went up like 50,
inner excellence.
Yeah, went up like 50% or something.
Yeah, because I think it had 500,000 sales and it went over 1 million just after he was on the sideline reading it.
That's too funny. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the Eagles in this one, but Jalen Hurts is gonna have to step up.
Yeah, and it could be that concussion. It could be a little bit of rust. Also with the bye. Well, they didn't get the bye, so. He had 3 weeks off, wasn't it?
He was off, but they rested they rested their
starters in the season.
So they didn't have a bye, but basically they had a bye.
This man ain't played since the week after Thanksgiving. So there's some rust there, but he's a dual threat guy, and as long as his legs are working, he's gonna be a threat. But he's gonna have to be probably if he's gonna be throwing like that. I want to see what the Rams secondary will do against A.J. Brown because he's been sleeping and I guess he's ready to go off now. And there's not a lot of people that can really stop A.J. Brown whenever him and Jalen Hurts have it going. And Devontae Smith also.
Heisman Devontae over there.
Heisman Devontae.
Can't sleep on him either. So, I mean, that's such a nice duo there. And then you got Saquon in the backfield. Yeah. So.
I'm going to take Philadelphia to win, but I think the Rams will cover. I think they're fighting for more. They got a lot. They got a lot going on in LA right now, and I think that, it's kind of like whenever the Saints went on their run for the Super Bowl, it was, for all the victims in Katrina. So maybe they're going to ride this out, and they're going to be a real scary team to beat because a lot of those guys, they've won before. They've done it before. So I wouldn't be shocked if they were to pull the upset. That would make this a heart bet, wouldn't it? I'll bet with my heart this week. So I would bet on the Rams to cover the 6, but Philadelphia, if you bet in money line, I'd roll that way. All right, the last game, the big game, the game of the year. It's only 2 weeks into the year, but it's the game of the year, right? Bills Ravens. You got your boy Lamar. Well, our boy Lamar, league MVP. Have they announced it yet? They need to stop playing.
They should.
They need to stop playing. And if y'all going to wait this long, y'all might as well wait till after the Super Bowl and just give it to whoever deserves it every season. Whatever. They just want it to be controversial. But game of the year, do you believe so?
Yeah, well, the Bills-Lions is the only thing that you have to really go against, and that was an incredible game.
Yeah.
That lived up to the hype.
Yeah, because I think that Detroit-Minnesota game didn't really live up to expectation, and Minnesota kind of showed us what they were a little bit. They just kind of fell flat at the end of the season, it seemed like. But, yeah, I would say it's the game of the year so far. But I think whoever wins this game, they're just playing to play Patrick Mahomes, and then that's the game of the year, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, so, and I think that game, I'll be more interested in who wins that game and who's going to win the Super Bowl because I think everybody kind of thinks whoever wins the AFC, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's why they play the games, though, Jay. Yeah. So I'm going in this one. Man, the Ravens look good. I think Buffalo on the defense, they're a little weak right now. They've given up 40 points. I
want to say the Ravens kind of spanked them earlier this year. Wasn't it 34-20, I believe?
I don't know what the exact score was, but I'm going to go with the Ravens, man. Lamar is in King Henry. I don't know if Zay Flowers is going to be ready to play.
Yeah, I know
he
dismissed this week.
Yeah, so
he's a big difference.
But Rashad Bateman has really stepped up into kind of that. Wasn't he a second round pick, first round pick?
I believe he was a first round pick.
Yeah, so but it's taken him a few years to get going.
It usually happens with Baltimore receivers. Zay Flowers is the exception.
Right. So I mean, right now I'm going with Baltimore in that game. King Henry downhill, Lamar on the zone read, like he's taking it, running whatever he wants, and then Mark Andrews is coming alive too.
Mark Andrews, because he's kind of been their Travis Kelce for the last few years, so he's kind of taken some time off and let Zay Flowers play his Tyreek Hill.
Now, if you drafted him in fantasy this year, you were disappointed. Yeah, but he's coming along at the right time. He's coming along
at the right time for them. But yeah, like I said, the winner of next week's game is probably going to be the Super Bowl favorite, but this is going to be a big game. It's a 1-point spread. I believe that the Ravens are favored in this game. 51.5 is the over-under, and that's going to be Sunday at 5:30.
So
it's a CBS game, so
you get 3 points. You get 3 points for being the home team.
Yeah.
So they say.
So they saying that Buffalo basically win on a neutral field.
Yeah. So they're basically saying that the Ravens are the better team, right? Because you get 3 points for being at home.
Yeah, and I want to say it's because has Buffalo lost since they lost to Baltimore? Or what was it? What was Buffalo's last loss? Wait, no, they were one of the hottest teams in football, but it's just
I mean, it's the playoffs. I mean, this is why you play the regular season, to get matchups like this. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Let's decide who MVP this weekend.
Yeah, we'll decide. But I do think that everybody wants to give it to Allen because they lost Diggs. Diggs has fallen off, and to me, look at what Khalil Shakur has been doing for them. I want to say that he's second in the NFL in yards after catch. That means that once he catches the ball, then he goes. So that means he's doing work. And I think that getting rid of Devin Singletary was kind of addition by subtraction, because now you let James cook. You know what I'm saying? Look,
James Cook.
You know, look, James Cook. Dalvin's little bro doing his thing. And I think that he's been a huge upgrade at running back. And you saw what Ty Johnson does. He's the best third down back in the league. But to me, you need to be able to play all those positions. Ain't no more third down backs, every down backs. But for him to make that great play in the back of the end zone, it didn't look like he really caught that ball in the Buffalo game, but he did. He made it happen. But I think they have a lot of speed on that team, and and I think they might have the best tight end tandem outside of Baltimore. With Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. I'm sorry, but I think they're a great offense, and I think that everybody just wants to give Josh Allen this because the name Stephon Diggs left the building, but he wasn't what he was. And I think Keon Coleman, he can come up big because he's a big receiver. And it's one of those things that's very underrated, that everybody gets to just play their role and you don't have any egos in the way anymore. And I think that gives them an advantage over what they had last year. But I'm picking Baltimore saying all that.
Yes, saying all that. It's
King Henry is King Henry.
Ravens, Chiefs again.
Yeah.
They thrilled us in week 1, and they're going to thrill us in the AFC title game next week. So that's what it looks
like. Baltimore took a long time to figure out what they were going to do, and it's just when Baltimore's been on, they look unstoppable. Like whenever Baltimore is playing their best football, they are the best team in the NFL. And their defense turned it on. Marlon Humphreys is a different player than he was. He looked like he was at the end of his career whenever he was playing against the Cowboys earlier this season, and he ended up being a Pro Bowler. He just turned it around, had a great season. Baltimore's playing amazing, and I'm picking them. And hopefully I see that Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson matchup next week. But I ain't going to be mad if it's Josh Allen either.
I mean, how could you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great football.
Patrick Mahomes versus Allen, or Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, it's going to be a great game, assuming that the Chiefs beat the Texans.
Yeah,
right?
We can still over here just like Texans fans are mad. That's why it's the Dallas Bias Club. You from Houston. It's like it's the Houston haters session.